All right, let's talk about something that trips up a lot of folks, your AWS CloudTrail bill. In this explainer, we're going to demystify one of the most common surprises you might find in your AWS invoice.
You ever get that feeling? You open up your AWS bill, you see that line for CloudTrail, and you're just scratching your head. You know you need it for security, for auditing, but where do those numbers actually come from? It can feel like a total black box.
Well, not for long. Today, we're putting on our detective hats. We're going to follow the money, investigate the clues, and crack this case wide open so you know exactly how to manage and, yeah, even reduce your CloudTrail costs.
Okay, so before we start pointing fingers at the usual suspects, every good detective needs their toolkit, right? So let's look at the essential AWS tools we're going to use to track down these costs.
Our toolkit is pretty straightforward. First, we need a way to see what's happening. That's Cost Explorer. Then we need a way to get alerted if things go sideways. Hello, AWS Budgets. And finally, specifically for CloudTrail Lake, we'll use Allocation Tags to keep track of costs. Okay, first up, Cost Explorer. Seriously, think of this as your magnifying glass. It lets you zoom in on your spending. And here's the pro tip: group your CloudTrail costs by usage type. That's what turns one big, confusing number into a clear list of what you're actually paying for. Next in the kit is AWS Budgets. This is your smoke detector. It's an absolute best practice to set up a budget just for CloudTrail. That way you get a heads up the second your spending even looks like it's going to go over your limit. No more nasty surprises at the end of the month. All right, toolkit's packed. Let's get to the investigation. Our first suspect, the good old standard CloudTrail's trail. This is often where those first unexpected costs start to creep in.
So when you look at the breakdown in Cost Explorer, this is what you'll see. The key thing to notice here is free events recorded. The first copy of management events you log in any region, totally free. The costs start when you see paid events recorded. That means extra copies. And of course, you always pay for data and network events.
And this right here is the absolute key. Let me say it again. The first copy is free. So what happens if you have a big multi-region trail logging everything, and then you also create another trail just for, say, US East 1? Well, that second trail is a duplicate delivery. You're paying for the same event twice. This is hands down the #1 culprit for a surprise trail bill. Okay, on to suspect number 2, CloudTrail Lake. It's an amazing tool for deep analysis, but the pricing is a whole different ballgame compared to trails. You've got to know how it works to avoid getting tripped up. CloudTrail Lake gives you 2 main flavors. You've got the 1-year extendable retention plan. Think of this as your flexible, pay-as-you-go option, great for smaller data volumes. Then you have the 7-year retention plan. This is for the heavy hitters, where you're ingesting a ton of data and the storage cost is just baked into the ingestion price. And this is the magic number that helps you decide: 25 terabytes. If you're consistently pushing more than 25 terabytes of data into Lake each month, that 7-year plan is almost certainly going to save you money. If you're under that, the 1-year extendable plan is probably your best bet.
But wait, there's more. No matter which plan you pick, your Lake costs really come from 3 places. First, how much uncompressed data you ingest. Second, on that 1-year plan, you start paying for storage after day 366. And third, every single time you run a query, you're charged based on how much data that query has to scan through.
Okay, the investigation's done. We've identified the suspects, we've seen the evidence. Now for the fun part: closing the case. Let's go through some real practical strategies you can use to get these costs under control starting right now. First up, for trails, go audit your setup. If you have an organization-wide trail or a multi-region trail, hunt down any single region trails that are logging the exact same management events. Getting rid of that duplication is your quickest win. Second trail tip: be picky. You gotta ask yourself, do I really need a log of every single read-only S3 getObject call? Probably not. Use advanced event selectors to be super specific about what you log. Only pay for the events that actually matter for your security or compliance. All right, now for CloudTrail Lake. Tip number 1 is a no-brainer. Pick the right plan for the job. Take a look at your usage. Are you consistently way over or way under that 25 terabyte mark? Make sure your pricing plan matches your reality.
And just like with trails, you can and should filter events for Lake. The trick is to do it before the data gets ingested. That way, you're not paying to bring in and store a bunch of noise that you're never even going to look at.
And finally, a super simple but really effective tip for your queries.
Remember, you pay for data scanned. So when you write your query, always add a specific start and end event time. Narrowing that window means you scan less data, which means you pay less. It's that simple.
So let's wrap this case up. Here's your cheat sheet. Use Cost Explorer to see exactly what you're being charged for. Stop collecting duplicate events in your trails. Pick the right lake plan based on that 25 terabyte rule. And for both trails and lake, filter, filter, filter. Only pay for the data you truly need. And there you have it. The case of the mysterious CloudTrail bill is officially closed. You've got the toolkit, you've got the strategies, so the only question left is, what's the first clue you're going to investigate in your own AWS account? Thanks for joining me.